Welcome, welcome! It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today we're going to talk about Xi'an lore. The Xi'an Empire was first discovered in 2530. How did we discover them? Well, we had a company that were experts in terraforming named Gaia Planet Services that were out in the Pallas system, and they were at Pallas 3, believing that the planet was uninhabited. Come to find out, there was somebody that had been there, and there was somebody that already laid claim to the system, which ended up being the Xi'an Empire. The Xi'an Empire controls up to 14 star systems today that we know of. This encounter back in 2530 pretty much escalated into a 259-year Cold War. So it lasted from 2530 to 2789. The bad thing about it is it probably would have never have been a Cold War if the Messers weren't in charge. But since the Messers were the imperators at the time, they decided that they wanted to do anything to build up more military might so they can consolidate their power and hold more sway over the empire. So they used the Xi'an as the bully next door and said that they were an enemy that we needed to prepare for combat with. And so they continued to build up arms and new ships and everything else so that they could be prepared for a war with the Xi'an, which thankfully never completely manifested because the Xi'an have over 16 million in their military. Every woman and man in the Xi'an Empire has to serve. It is a requirement. And every former person, or every person that has served, becomes a reservist. So you're always in the service of the Empire, regardless of where you come from, who you are. You're always in the service of Empire. Even the regular civilians have this military combat training behind them, so they could be a force to be reckoned with, much like us Texans. So we didn't have peace with the Xi'an until around 2789, and that was after there were some covert missions on both sides that led to a lot of casualties here and there, like sabotage, espionage, and they've even been credited with taking down one of the Messer imperators in an assassination plot. At least they had some sort of something to do with them. Senator Akari actually helped bring a peace accord with the Xi'an in 2789. So let me talk about the Xi'an as far as how they are structured. So their political system is an absolute monarchy, and it's hereditary, so it'll pass from one person in the family to the next. The interesting thing also about the Xi'an is they have extremely long lifespans. So the emperor that was in place when we first met them was still there when the peace accord was signed. Pretty interesting. So he is living, I believe, even to this day in the Star Citizen lore. So he's lived, 300-400 years easily. Interesting fact that they live so long. So they're very weary of humanity in general because they live so long. They've seen all the, demonizing that the UEE has put on them. So they don't really trust humanity all that much. So that's something that we will have to deal with when we encounter Xi'an in the verse. But for as long as the UEE has known the Xi'an or had contact with the Xi'an, they have never seen the Xi'an be aggressors in any wars whatsoever. Now they have, like I said, had some influence and helped the revolution that overthrew Messer the 11th in 2792. So they have been responsible for some stuff, but they really haven't had any direct conflicts that the United Earth Empire know about. They do have one group of enemies that have survived for many, many, many years, and they were in a war with them that they call the Spirit War. The Spirit War has lasted, I think, 700 plus years. Let's see. Yes, over 700 years. So, while I think things have kind of cooled down between the two, the Xi'an still consider the Kr'thak their enemy. And humanity's never met the Kr'thak. Their home system is based on the other side of the Xi'an Empire, and the Xi'an probably wouldn't look too kindly upon humanity or humans flying all the way from one end of their system to the other, especially with the desire to trade with their enemies. So they have a very tense relationship with the Kr'thak, and the Xi'an have a friendly relationship with the Banu because everybody likes trade. The Banu brings a lot of trade. I would call their relationship with the UEE kind of neutral. There is something that still exists between UEE systems and Xi'an systems, and that's called the Perry line. We'll get into that in a minute. They have an indifferent relationship with the Vandal. They don't really encounter Vandal very often, but they kind of consider them as barbarians. Very short-sighted, thuggish. Of course, the Vandal think the Xi'an are manipulators and cowards. So, it kind of goes both ways. So back to the Perry line, which is a group of systems that was laid out between Xi'an systems and the UEE systems. So they were established in 2789 after the peace treaty, and it's pretty much a buffer zone for both races. And over the last couple of hundred years, almost 200 years, a lot of this has kind of cooled. The systems that are in the Perry line are Tohil, Oya, Gurzil, Orus, Pallas, Hadur, Idra, and Virtus. Like I said, the relations have kind of cooled off a little bit. Or warmed up, maybe, I guess is a better way to put it. Xi'an companies are now making stuff and selling it to UEE citizens and civilians alike. So, and the UEE has really worked hard to improve relations with the Xi'an over the last few years. So some of the UEE companies are also working with the Xi'an to produce some influenced technology. So if you look at the Xi'an companies that are now operating in UEE space, you've got Aopa, that's a known quantity, and of course the ship that they're selling is the Khartu'al, which is kind of like a light fighter scout ship, very maneuverable, as it doesn't have any main thrusters. It's only got these individual maneuvering rigs, and this is the ship that I'm talking about right now, is the one that you're seeing flying. It's a very cool ship, but it's going to have to be reworked a little bit. It does have some issues. One of the coolest things about it is the quantum jump experience. It's sad when that's the only thing that I can really say good about the ship. It doesn't fly great, it flies okay, and the weapons are kind of soft. They're not really good. You can carry 2 size 3s and that's it. So it's not the most heavily armed ship, and it's supposed to be even more maneuverable than what it is, but unluckily we just don't have that experience right now. So other ships that have been influenced by the Xi'an, Misk has worked with the Xi'an to do several things as far as manufacturing engines and ship technologies. And those ships that are experiencing some of that is the Freelancer, believe it or not, and the Reliant. So the Freelancer, I believe, uses some of the same engine technology and some other little things that Xi'an use, but the Reliant is much closer to me in form to one of the Xi'an Khartu'al or Santokiai type ships. The Santokiai, if you don't know, is the medium-sized fighter. It'll have more guns, more armor, that sort of thing, compared to the Khartu'al, and it's been sold previously in Star Citizen, but it's not out for us to fly yet. Other ships that we can expect to see is that's just plain simply a Xi'an ship, will be some sort of capital ship, maybe even a carrier. They also have the Volper bomber, and they have some cargo ships as well. So we don't know when we'll get to see those, or how, or if, or any of that. Systems currently owned by the Xi'an, like I said, there was 14. There's Veritas, Ilus, Elson, Riala, Kabari, Kaifa, I'm probably butchering all these, Markahil, Tal, Pallas, Erika, Hadur, Idra, and a couple that haven't been named. They do have sort of kind of a homeworld, but they fled that homeworld because they were not the apex predators on it. Evidently somebody else was, or something else was pretty nasty on that planet that had no problem killing off a lot of the Xi'an. In case you wonder what the Xi'an look like, at the end of this video I will have some pictures of them. They look a lot like turtle people. Yeah, I mean, if one of them had some ninja skills, they could very easily pass as ninja turtles. Sad but true, I know. They look kind of cool. I kind of like their design a little bit. They are ruled by the Emperor, of course, which we went over, but they also have all these houses that rule each system. So the Emperor has a council that answers directly to him and will pretty much administer the empire for him. These council members are pretty much the elected or head officials of all these families of these individual systems. When you go back to the system level, they'll have another council that leads that system that answers directly to the council member underneath the Emperor. So it's kind of like a trickle-down council type thing, but it's very much in their own house or clan, and that's kind of how they see themselves. It's kind of like a shogun and all the families and stuff, lords and stuff under a shogun, if you know anything about Japanese history. Kind of neat. Most of the Xi'an ships will fly somewhat vertically in nature, and then they will flip or turn or rotate around to land. You'll see me land this ship quite forcefully here in a few minutes. It doesn't take much for them to fall apart. You don't want to bang any part of this ship on anything. Don't want to catch it on anything because it will go to pieces. So I really like the Xi'an. There's a lot more to be told here. I believe we're going to start getting some access to their systems when, that all gets implemented into the game. Like I said, they probably will rework the Khartu'al, but they may be waiting until they get the Santokiai in the game, or even maybe one of the other Volper bombers or carriers or something like that. We'll have to wait and see, as all things are considered in Star Citizen at the moment. If you've experienced some bugs and stuff here lately in the game, that's not unusual. Right before a new patch comes out, things get extremely buggy. We had over 25 people on for the org event last night, and we never really got it off the ground because there was too much desync. There was a lot of issues. It was a rough time. We ended up having some fun anyways, so hopefully I'll be able to salvage some videos for you guys from that. If you guys are looking for an org to join, You can look us up. The information is in the description of the video. We are Texas. You can also join our Discord if you just want to kind of get to know the guys, fly around with them, experience the org a little bit without joining. You're more than welcome to do that. The guys are all friendly and they'll be glad to show you around and do some things, have some fun. You can probably even join us in some of the org nights. So check that out. If you are new to the game and this looks like a game you may be interested in playing, you can use my referral code down below. That'll get you a bonus 5,000 credits to start the game, which will definitely help you in starting any career that you plan to do. It's a start for sure. So check that out as well. And guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed before. Hit that little bell icon to let you know when I do more of these videos. I really do appreciate everybody that has been tuning in to watch my videos. It means a lot. I thank you to all of the guys who have taken me up on the referral process. And thank you to my Patreons. I now have one or two of you guys that I need to mention in my videos coming up soon. So hopefully we can get that done in the near future. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you out in the verse.